All right. Hey, everybody. As promised, I'm Dr. Jeff Langmaid here with the Evidence Based Chiropractor podcast, and I'm lucky to sit down with not only a great chiropractor, but also a friend, Dr. Alan Miner, CEO of Chiro Matchmakers. And today, we're going to talk all around virtual chiropractic assistants. If that is news to you, please stay tuned, because this is something that has changed my productivity world, and I have a feeling, regardless of whether you're new in practice or super experienced, this is going to be an episode you want to listen into. Alan, thanks for coming on and chatting today.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. Does everybody know we call you Hefe?
It might have just been publicly disclosed to the world.
It's the best. Have you ever seen the movie Chef?
Yes, I have, on your recommendation.
And so his tattoo is El Jefe, which I think means like the boss, the man.
That's right.
And, but anyways, it's if they didn't know now, they need to know.
Well, thanks for getting it out there. We'll see if it takes. Let's pick it up right with virtual CAs. When we talk about virtual assistants, there's like a ton of misnomers out there, conjecture, like, what am I buying? What are they going to do? I'll highlight in a few minutes sort of how virtual CA has worked for me. But I guess let's start at the super basics. For doctors, this is a totally new concept. What's a virtual CA?
Yeah, it grabs people's attention. Like, how do I have a CA work virtually? What are you talking about? And that's been really fun. We've helped a lot of docs who've been in a pinch. It's kind of how it started. A CA left last minute. I think a lot of people know we do staffing of associate doctors and CAs and marketers and office managers. The big secret, Jeff, is we've been using a team of virtual assistants to help with our staffing for a few years now. And, you know, like a lot of people, we had reservations like, well, I don't know, do I want to hire somebody who's not in the US? How's their English connection speed online? You know, what am I getting into? The staffing world is a very manual business. You know, we have to, and especially the way we do it, we use cognitive assessments and behavioral assessments. And so there's a ton of sifting and sorting resumes, sorting all these assessments, analyzing if an associate doc is a good fit for a client. And so we really started to rely on these college-educated, college-degreed team from all over the world, you know, outside of the U.S. We have team members in Mexico. We worked out of Colombia, Philippines. And we just started to realize, wow, there's a lot of talent out there that we can tap into to help us. Now, what we've learned, and I think what we can bring to the chiropractic profession is there's a lot of red tape, and it's really hard to work out of another country. So it took us about 3 years to figure out all the ins and outs of this. It's not easy. But when you figure it out, the bottom line is there's some great people in these other countries who would love to help out your business. And that's what we learned with Chiro Matchmakers. And so, Jeff, one of our problems we ran into is a lot of the docs that come to us were struggling to grow, or they really wanted some help with a CA or an associate, but their practice wasn't big enough to justify the expense. And, you know, something I learned early on from mentors is one of the most important people you can hire immediately is an assistant. You know, before you even hire the operator, get an assistant. And the basic premise there is we all have our own specific talents and gifts. And if you spend most of your day doing what you're a genius at, it's a lot more fun. You usually help a lot more people, and you usually make a lot more money. But when we run businesses, including chiropractic clinics, there's a lot of other stuff that has to be done that a lot of times we don't enjoy and we're not good at. It can range from notes. It can range from social media. It might be the email follow-ups you should be doing. It might be client outreach. But there's things that we do and we grind out. And so we started realizing, you know, a lot of these docs that call us who need help, but their practices can't financially justify hiring somebody. One of our team members said, what if we could help them with our team of VAs somehow? And we thought, well, how could you have a CA who's not in the office? That won't work. And then we started saying, well, actually, there's a lot of work that a CA can do that they don't have to be present physically. And even if that task frees up bandwidth and time for the doctor, now the doctor has more time to spend serving more people, doing what they're usually very good at, making more money to hopefully grow that business another $100,000, $200,000 so they can afford to bring on the associate in the proper way or hire the CA they need. So that's how it started. We can get into all the different things we help, but the bottom line is there's some really great help out there for you in your practice. that can really help you do a lot of the things you either hate to do or you're not doing that you know you should be doing. And as you do those things, then your practice usually does better and you make more money. And that leads to you then building a bigger team of people that are local.
Yeah, I love that. That's really, really important. One of the things you want to touch on, I want to drive a little bit deeper towards is, when I hired a virtual CA, cost really surprised me in a positive way, meaning there's this tremendous amount of cost savings. Maybe just spend a moment highlighting what those cost savings look like in general compared to an in-office CA.
Yeah, well, different things have different pricing, but the range for us is $13 an hour to $16 an hour. These are college educated people that we actually, this is a key point, Jeff, we put them through a CA training program for chiropractors. Then we put them through our onboarding training at Chiro Matchmakers. Then they work for us in our recruiting team. So we really get to know these people well before we deploy them out for a client. And so in our director of operations is US based, Daniela. So Daniela, coordinates with our clients, coordinates with the VCA, so we don't have any of those lag issues. We test for, speed time, connectivity, internet connectivity. We provide equipment to our VCA, so we don't have those issues unless maybe a monsoon or typhoon goes blowing through the Philippines. That hasn't been an issue for us, and we're able to provide these services at a pretty cost-effective rate. The way we do it, Jeff, is we do them in 10-hour weekly increments. So the higher rate is if you hire somebody for $10 an hour. The lower rate is if you have somebody 40 hours a week. But, where could you find a college-educated person to join your team for 10, 20 hours a week or for 40 hours a week, for that matter, at $13 an hour? And in full transparency, Jeff, what makes this unique, when you can go look for virtual assistants in other countries, and you can see rates as low as $9, $10 an hour. The difference is we employ these people. When you hire one of those other folks, they're working for an agency. And so they actually work directly for us on your behalf, it sounds small, but that's how we provide their equipment. That's how we really help them to, make sure that they do the job we're going to say they do. And because also we pay our people directly because they work for us and they're not going through an intermediary. That was a nightmare, as you can attest to, of getting that set up to learn how to have a business and a company in these other countries, but it enabled us to get to the spot where we can do it. And the final thing is we truly do train people as CAs, not just as assistants. Like, we put them through full CA training, so they're familiar with chiropractic, the vernacular, the tasks, and it's something that's really, differentiated us with our clients by going that extra route.
Yeah, the cost savings for the specialists are so important. You kind of highlighted it with talking about their education, and I just want to reinforce that idea and message that there really are a variety of different virtual CA specialists. We'll talk about roles in a moment, and being able to get that cost savings yet still having unbelievable expertise is so powerful. But before we get there, I want to touch upon something that you highlighted, and let's dig a little bit deeper. And that's, I know many docs out there, me included, I'm like, I don't want to manage somebody. Like, I have a hard enough time managing myself, my family, and my team as it is. Never mind somebody new that's overseas. You mentioned Daniela. I've had an awesome experience working with her, but maybe just highlight a little bit more of how that process plays out so docs can really visualize what this looks like for them.
Yeah, well, a lot of our clients are like, this sounds interesting, but I'm not sure how I'd use it. So Danielle is an expert at that, and our usual questions are, well, what do you hate doing? What's not getting done? And if it can be done remotely, Daniela builds a system out for you to help take care of that. And so, it's getting into some of the stuff. We thought initially it'd be a lot of like document entering or transcription or data transfer. And we do that for our clients, but we do a lot of social media. And the two things, we do the usual of, we have, short form film editors for your reels, and we have content managers to drip out your content. But where it's really gained traction, Jeff, is what I call just being a good steward of your social media. Like, I don't have time for the businesses to like all my followers' comments, to follow each person who follows me back, to DM our new followers and invite them into the page, to comment on people, to go out to people in the community we serve and follow them and interact. But that is how you organically grow Instagram and Facebook. And so a lot of people are bringing on our assistants just to do that, to just I call it being a good steward of your social media. At the end of the day, I might open it for a couple minutes and look at what's interesting. I don't want to sit there and spend an hour or 2 or 3 or 5 a day liking everybody's comments and commenting. But boy, we've really seen the impact on our offices of when somebody follows us, we follow back and we send a DM, hey, we're here to educate the community. If we can ever help you with any help needs, reach out. That makes an impression on people. Following other influencers in the community, interacting with them several times. And all of a sudden you've got some of the athletes or restaurant owners or celebrities or other big business owners who are following and you're interacting with their pages. They become aware of you. That's led to a lot of cool collaborations that our team has set up. And then phones and communication is such a big thing today. A lot of offices realize, wow, the phones are really disruptive. Especially if you've got a smaller staff, do they answer the phone? Do they greet the patient? Who has priority? Well, the old saying is a bird in hand is worth two in the bush. So you should probably take care of the person who walks in, but that might mean you need to ignore your phones and the person who just responded to the Google ad you're paying $50 a click for. So we do a lot of that work for offices, both inbound and outbound. Outbound being we do confirmation calls, follow-up calls, reactivation calls, reminder calls, that kind of stuff for clinics. We do a lot for different people who use social media and, they have leads come in, but their staff's not getting to the leads, or their staff maybe gets to them when they're in the office, but they don't get to them on the weekends or in the evenings or at lunches. So our team steps in and does that work. And then the inbound, answering the phones, scheduling people, giving directions, answering questions, that kind of thing. If a doc has a remote system that we can log into and they can give us a login so it's HIPAA compliant, we can help them manage that, which streamlines. We have a lot of docs who are going to hire a second or third CA who just onboarded 1 or 2 virtual assistants, and they're able to run the office with their front desk and them, and then 2 CA virtual assistants running overhead coverage behind them. We do a lot with personal injury, just the follow-up calls and attorneys, getting notes out, really anything that your staff's doing repeatedly. Another big one is stats, KPIs. A lot of people docs owners want their stats daily and weekly and monthly, but a lot of times the staff aren't good at compiling it or don't like compiling it. So again, if you can show Daniela where we access that info, our VCAs can come in and generate those kinds of reports for people. So we do traveling for people that don't like travel. We do email management for our clients for people who just don't like dealing with, email. So we'll go, put what they need into different files so they know where to go look and respond and clear out the junk. So we have some professional services. We charge a couple more dollars an hour, but things like bookkeeping, our film editing for social media is a professional service. So people would be shocked. I always ran a brick and mortar. I thought I needed people here, and I've seen rates go up, Jeff. To find a good CA around the country, $20 is a pretty normal salary. A lot of places are $23, $25. My first CAs were $6 an hour, and until COVID, 16 was pretty average. But, when Carl's Jr. and Starbucks pays $18, $19 an hour with full benefits, rates have gone up. Most dentists now are paying $35, $40 for their front desk people. So this is a great way to help offset those costs with sometimes a higher educated, more professional staff to do a lot of the work. And that way you can run with a leaner staff. So there's a lot of ways we're seeing people use us.
Yeah, that's powerful. I love that you're pulling out the 27th most popular fast food chain ever, Carl's Jr. Well done.
Hey, they pay more. I drove by one and I'm like, Carl's Jr. pays $18 an hour and we have CA jobs at 15. I'm like, no wonder we're having trouble staffing these things. And so anyway, that's
a very real thing. And I want to give a little bit of feedback to one of the things you touched on, and that's regarding the social. We've seen with Smart Chiropractor, we've used virtual CA to help use that exact process of liking, following, and building. And we've seen about a 50% growth over the last 45 to 60 days based upon having a strategic approach. For docs out there that are interested in growing their followings, or they're doing the right things themselves by posting, but they want a little extra oomph, a virtual CA, I can speak to it directly, is absolutely part of the strategy I use personally. So I think that that's super, super impactful. The second component that I'd love for you to dive into a little bit more, because many docs probably might be unaware, the importance of the phone call, meaning, what's a phone call worth to you? I always view it, that's whatever your lifetime value of a patient is. That could be $1,000, $10,000. That any inbound phone call is worth that much because a missed opportunity is a missed opportunity. And I'd love for you to speak into that because many docs are probably unaware. You have multiple practices. You are very aware of how a calling and inbound calling and the necessity, if you're paying for paid ads, time is of the essence. Maybe just highlight a little bit of that because I know almost everybody listening is running paid ads. And if you're running paid ads and you don't have your phones manned with a dedicated person, you're missing opportunities and that is just costing you money. What's been your experience with it?
Yeah, on the Google side, you work to get your SEO up so your page gets recognized, or you even pay for Google ads so you're at the top and somebody dials, and if you don't answer, we all go to the next person down the list and you just missed that. And where that was highlighted for me, Jeff, is when I first started Google ads, they put a pixel on the page and Google send me, you have 50 calls and you could actually listen to their calls, which you can listen to our calls when people use our service. Anyways, long story short, we answered one call of the 50 people that called through the link. And that was my wake up like, okay, I just flushed like $3,000 down the toilet. I got 50 calls and I only got to one of them. Okay, that's amateur and a waste of money. So that was what opened my eyes to this. Also, I hear from our folks doing marketing, the opt-ins, a 5-minute response time is kind of ideal, where people forget and ghost you that they filled or clicked on whatever your ad was in your link for social media. So having a quick response time is really critically important. It's just people want an answer. I love Google and Yelp because people are looking. On Facebook, we're trying to distract them and maybe they're interested. But if they search for a chiropractor and they come across you and you won that contest today, everything, your website copy, your SEO, that all goes down the toilet if you don't answer the darn phone. And I realized early on, once I saw my problem of we answered one call out of 50, then we did a better job answering phones. But I realized we're missing a lot of calls when we go to lunch or when we leave the office at night or on weekends. We don't do a lot of personal injury, but we do a little bit. And I started realizing, we pick up one of those calls a month. That doubles what we pay for the service. And so that really is where I learned that you are leaving money on the table by not tending to your phones. And I think I saw my behavior once. I needed a air conditioner fixed and I Googled and no answer. Third call answer, ding. Hey, I need this fixed. They got my business. And I had kind of that epiphany of, wonder how often I'm losing out on business because I'm not answering the phone. So that's the logic behind why that's so important.
I think it is super, super impactful for docs listening and or watching. I'm going to drop links down below to connect and schedule a call. So full disclosure, I am involved in the marketing at Chiro Matchmakers, but I also literally use the service. I use a virtual CA and we use a virtual CA in multiple ways. So if you have questions for me specifically, of course, everybody knows how to reach out, Jeff at theevidencebasedchiropractor.com. Otherwise, I'd highly suggest getting in touch with the team at Chiro Matchmakers. Again, I'm going to drop the link down below. Click the link, schedule a quick discovery call. If you're not sure if a virtual CA can help, ask the question. But I think we've highlighted many great use cases, whether you're somebody looking to build and grow on social through organic growth and or video editing, whether you're looking for simple data transfer, whether you're looking for better reporting and analytics, which almost no doc does with consistency, or whether you are looking for the phones, which are absolutely a given, in my opinion, for everybody listening and watching, having your phones answered, and the cost to have a virtual CA do that is fractional compared to the output you will receive on the back end. So Alan, we're up against it. I thank you so much for taking time out of your day, coming on and chatting. And I'm going to encourage everybody listening to reach out to Chiro Matchmakers and talk about how a virtual CA can help them as we head into next year. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for watching this video on the Evidence Based Chiropractor channel. If you don't want to miss a single thing, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get notifications of every video we put out, and we put out new content each and every week. So be sure to subscribe today.